Well, you mentioned the humor persona quiz, so do you wanna discuss a little bit more about that?
Sure. Yeah. So on our website, I think there's a natural kind of inclination of like, okay, these personas again, which one am I? Right? Which of the seven? Because there are seven. You can be an enthusiast. This is someone who like appreciates the joys of everyday laughter, someone who's quick to laugh at something, can find the humor in a situation. You have the curator, as mentioned. This is someone who like when they find something funny, they share it with other people as well. You have an inventor. These are the writers of kind of humor, the people that can think about setup and punchline, and they know what like a comic triple is or a callback, right? So stand-up comedians
Yeah,
need to, when they're
okay.
writing, they're like kind of that inventor persona. You have the entertainer. This is when you're up in front of people. So this might be improvisers, or when you're doing stand-up, the actual performance component of it falls into entertainer. You have the humor engineer. That is someone who is like really strategic about using humor to solve problems. So this is what we do at Humor That Works. The company is the
Mm,
idea of like, okay, you're dealing with employee engagement. Well, how could humor help with that? Or if you need to better work on stress management, here's how humor can help. You have the humor advocate, and this is someone who is very much about supporting other people's humor, putting them in a position to succeed. And then finally, you have the humor skeptic. This is someone who is very careful of the consequences and consideration of humor, because we do recognize, particularly say humor in a workplace, the same humor that you see in a stand-up comedy club is not going to be the same humor that works well when you're giving a presentation at 9 a.m. to your entire, CEO and review board, etc. Right. So the skeptic is able to balance that a little bit more. And so the quiz itself, free 2-minute quiz that anyone can take on our website, is to just say, okay, which one of these personas is your primary persona? Because you can absolutely learn all seven. And that's what we encourage people to do. What we train them on how to do is to learn how to use all seven and become this whole humorist that's able to use the different personas when needed. But there is probably one that you do a little bit more often or more naturally than the others. And so when you're first starting to learn or use the skill of humor a little bit more, what we encourage is for people to lean into that primary persona first, start to find ways to be more deliberate about that one, and then learn the other ones as you go. And the quiz is meant to help you identify which one it is.
hmm. I'll check it out, right? I mean, when you were describing it, I was like, "Oh, maybe I would consider myself an inventor, like, just trying to write jokes," and
Mhm.
I'm always like, if I'm either at an open mic or a show, and if I'm going up, I'm always, like, listening closely for a callback or something just to describe what was
Mhm.
going on previously, I, like, will start trying to think of a joke quick right away for or something like that, which sometimes it works.
Exactly, and yeah, and sometimes it doesn't. I think inventors recognize that, like, it's not always gonna work, but for sure, and that's the thing, though, is, like, you're probably an inventor when you're writing, but when you step onto the stage, you might then be the, the entertainer. Or in this podcast, in some ways, you're an advocate. You're bringing on people that
Mm,
you wanna talk to and showcase and asking them questions, so that's kinda what an advocate does, right? And so that's part of the goal, is the recognition that, yeah, many of us can and probably should be, more than one. And as I was describing them, there's probably people that were listening. It's like, oh, when I'm with my friends, I'm a curator, but when I'm like at home or when I'm in the workplace, I might be more of a skeptic and I don't actually use it more. And it's like that's completely natural. The goal is to be more intentional about when you're using which one.